I'm on the bandwagon with Keenan. Not really a bandwagon, but Tyreek Hill's going to get traded. They're going to tear this team down to the nubs pretty soon once they fire McDaniels. So he'll get traded. 4th-round pick back to the Chiefs. They'll make another push.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothas Podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, joined by Timmy. Brandon would be here, but the wild week 2 of the NFL has him in Steph Curry night-night mode because some bets didn't go his way. But guys, how you doing?
Pretty crazy first slate of games. Even the 4 o'clock window was nuts. Completely different week. Week 1 was slow and take the unders. This one was chaos and take the over in every single game, and you'd make some money.
Golly, absolutely. And Timmy, you're pitching a perfect game right now in all your game picks.
No, I didn't want to curse it. I didn't want to curse it, but
I'm sorry. Me and Brandon would be pitching a perfect game, but one of the crazy things that happened was the Denver Broncos decided for a penalty that was questionable at best.
Questionable penalty, but it is the rule of the law.
It's the letter of the
yeah, it makes sense.
Letter of the law. It did happen, whatever. But still, that made it so I'm not undefeated, and Brandon's not, and you are. Kyle's had took some tough losses already this week. He's gonna be climbing out of the bottom. So first off, let's just start with the most recent thing, and then we'll talk about a bunch of games. We have a bunch to talk about before this Sunday night game. We're recording this right now. 7:41 p.m. Eastern Standard on Sunday. So, Eagles-Chiefs, what are our thoughts? 2017 Eagles, Super Bowl rematch. What are we thinking?
It's kind of what I was expecting, honestly. It was a slog of a game. It was ugly. It was a super ugly game. I was actually ready to talk about towards the end of the game when Mahomes missed Tyquan Thornton deep late, but he followed that up with a deep ball to Tyquan Thornton, and then the Chiefs couldn't get stops, and then it was tush push all day. Pretty boring game otherwise. Felt like a playoff game. The Chiefs brought it. I guess it was a good measuring stick game if you're the Chiefs, especially down 2 receivers. I gotta be honest though, Jalen Hurts, the football player, no doubt he's a good football player. Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, sometimes I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm not sure how good of a quarterback he is. And
what about today made you feel that?
They just don't put him in situations where they're like, it doesn't seem like they want him to be aggressive or take chances. I mean, they let him throw deep, of course, but they don't give him the reign that other quarterbacks, like Keenan, you had him at 5. They don't let him have the reign that the other 4 have, or even some of the guys behind him have. I think they love him as a football player for sure, but they try to protect him, it seems like, a lot.
He feels a little bit like early Lamar. I felt like they did that a lot with like before Lamar. Because that was the big thing with Lamar was play with a lead. You don't feel comfortable, like the narrative around him. Can't feel comfortable playing from a deficit. That's going to make things easy, first reads, and he's not going to be able to throw well from the pocket. Obviously, he has graduated much past that. Lamar can do literally whatever he wants to. Today, I had his rushing over in a small little bet. Didn't hit at all because he just said, I'm just going to throw from the pocket today. 4 passing touchdowns because he is an elite passer of the football now. So, but it feels like Jalen's in that early Lamar, but it's weird because I feel like he has when he needs to throw and when he has in big games, like he can make the throw. So it's weird how they're not letting him do it.
Yeah,
to me,
he's accurate enough. Like he's not bad on deep balls, and he's not bad when he has like throwing lanes. But just like sitting back, dissecting, like doing what Baker Mayfield does, or even what a Michael Penix does, I don't think Hurts would be successful. In fact, we've seen that that year after they made the Super Bowl where they lost to the Chiefs. We saw that where he was in the pocket a lot, and it just didn't work out. They were successful enough. He's good enough to win you games, but he's not good enough to just again pick you apart or bring you back from a big deficit, probably, like 17, right? That'd be my benchmark. 14, you feel okay. 17, I don't know.
Didn't get to watch much of this game, to be honest. For whatever reason, YouTube TV says no thanks on this game in particular. But yeah, a lot of short stuff for Hurts, like you said. Like, he had 101 yards passing today. That's incredible for a quarterback.
15 completions
Yeah.
too. So like
I had
a decent amount of completions.
I had brought up before the season started that, you know, his season high was like 36 pass attempts in a game. They don't want him to throw the ball. I think they understand that he's like not that's not his skill set, is not passing the ball for 45, 50 times to bring you back from a loss like that. It is confusing because his supporting cast is amazing. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I know Goddard wasn't in this one, but those two alone, you should be taking some deep shots, 15, 20 yards downfield, and we just don't see that from Hurts really ever. He seems to want to pull it and run it before that play develops. But, I mean, they get the dub. I think that's going to be the case with a lot of their games this year. They're going to be slow, ugly games where they play defense and can just run for 150, 200 yards and win the game that way. But yeah, pretty slow game, pretty lackluster, not a lot of big plays. Not very cool.
No, and then it's also hard because it was a complete different, like 180 from the rest of the week for the most part with a lot of these games that were just high flying back and forth.
It felt
And
like a
one thing
week
that-
14 or 15 type of week of football.
It truly did. It felt
This is one of the
weird.
more explosive week twos. I mean, I'm sure we could go back and find them, but man, this felt like mid to late season. It was just insanity all
Yeah.
over.
And one thing I want to talk about real quick before we move on to another game because it's going to lead conversations tomorrow. Danny, shout out Danny, watching football together. She's in fantasy football now for the first time, so she's growing a little bit of a care for football for the first time. And she was like, we're watching, and it was a tush push. She was like, why are they doing this again? It's just a dog pile. I don't like watching it. Like, why don't we do something different? And that's kind of it's one thing when the tush push happens, and obviously the Eagles are successful with it, and they were successful again today. It's another thing when there are a couple false starts that are pretty obvious. Especially, I know, like, they were there, and you were watching, like, okay, that's a false start, and it, like, you can't do anything, especially when there's a false start, and it's just such a hard play to officiate. Where at the end, did Drew Tranquill take the ball out? Was it a fumble? Where's the spot? Where's this? Where's it? I feel like this is going to be the last games with the tush push. Like, this is going to be the last season that we have it. I think next year's probably going to they're going to say bye.
Possible. It's possible. We'll see. It'll be a full season of it. Again, it's hard because the other teams don't run it as successfully for whatever reason that is.
Yes.
So it feels like a Philly only advantage. But yeah, you're watching the plays, and like all I could think about with the Chiefs is like how undersized their package for the tush push was compared. Like you could tell who was going to win before it happened, just because it seems like the Eagles linemen are two size the times that the Chiefs linemen were, especially on a short yardage package like that.
And then you've got Jalen Hurts, who might as well be a linebacker and can squat 600. So like he like that's why it's hard for other quarterbacks to do it, because like they're not as strong as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is probably the strongest quarterback, and if they wanted to do it with Saquon can squat more than Jalen Hurts.
Imagine if you had Cam Newton for that back in the day, or if the Panthers ran
golly, like that would be the quarterback you would need.
Would have been outlawed probably after the first year in his case.
I think the only way they outlawed is by saying you're not allowed to push on his back anymore. Or they could just go and say, like, who's allowed to even be in the backfield on a play like that? Like, are you allowed to just put tight ends in the backfield to assist you there? Or can it only be wide receivers, running backs, or something like that? But I agree, it's probably going to be outlawed. It was, like, sort of close this year. So I think it'll get enough traction. If it is like this, where we just get a bunch of boring games because of it, I think it'll definitely go bye-bye.
Yeah. And especially like when you can argue it hindered the outcome because you call that fourth down. Obviously, you call it in 4th and 1 at the goal line. That goes to 4th and 6. They probably kick the field goal. Then that Tyquan Thornton ball that makes it 17-16 instead of it being 17-20. Obviously, you get to that the late game there. Though another false start that was kind of there. Was it a fumble? Whatever. It wasn't really a fumble, but like whatever. But yeah, that's that. We have so many games to talk about. We're going to move on because there's not much more to that game. We'll stay in the 4 o'clock window because there's only 3 games, and we'll work our way back.
I think we
got to
go Cowboys Giants. I think
You want to go Cowboys Giants? Okay, fine. Then we'll go Cowboys. That was Cowboys Giants was the game of the day, and it superseded the Patriots Dolphins, which actually was a very good game. And I thought that was going to be game of the day. And then Cowboys Giants had that Commanders Cowboys feel from last year, where it was just complete insanity towards the end of the game. And man, oh man, shout out to Dak. He did orchestrate he was orchestrating making plays. That was a huge run that he had towards the last play of the game before Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey cements himself. I mean, if he wasn't already, he's the best kicker in the league. It's cemented now. 64-yarder. I understand you're indoors, but a 64-yarder, and that was easy.
Would have been good from 70. Easy.
He made it look like a 53-yard field goal.
You know, he really did. Like, it was
just kicked.
I've seen a lot of missed 29, 30s, 40-yard field goals missed, 50s missed, and he from 64 swung his leg. Like, I remember when Justin Tucker hit that 66, obviously a different environment, but like, he'll lean in body all into it. Like, he put every ounce of kick he had into that 66-yarder against the Lions. And then Aubrey looked like he was just like, I'm just kicking. just look like a free kick. just kick it there, and it went.
It's funny because when he came out, like, I was confident because he looked so confident. He came out, he was just strolling out, and I was like, all right, I've seen that look on a kicker from like 58 when they're a really good kicker, like Justin Tucker, like Adam Vinatieri, like clutch kickers. You just know, right? And it was making me laugh because you'll see this every week, like, and if you really see it, you'll be like, damn, like that kicker does not believe in himself. Like, you'll see a kicker point to the sky. It'll be like a 44-yard field goal. Like, I forget which game I was watching today, though, but kicker points to the sky, huge deep breath. Like, you could tell he was like, if I miss this, my job is like kaputs. Like, it's over with. Kicks it through, makes it, and then like points to the sky again, deep breath. And like, you could just tell like how much pressure he's putting on himself compared to Aubrey, who's like 64 yards. That's cake. Like, let's go from 66.
I'm pretty sure they just don't tell him. They're just like, hey, Aubrey, go kick a field goal. And he's like, all right, I'll fucking nail it. You just line me up. I'll put it through. I don't care.
Genuinely. And like, Kyle, that's such a good point that you make. We'll talk about the game here in just a second, but such a good point that you make, because yesterday, obviously this is college, so it's different. Georgia, Tennessee, in Tennessee. Max Gilbert, the kicker for the Volunteers, if you didn't see, Kyle,
he pushed
has a kick. He has a kick at the end of the game, and oh man, did he push it right. And it was like a 44-yarder. It was not a difficult kick. Winds were fine. Weather was fine. Snap was fine. Hold was fine. Just wasn't confident. And you could just see it. And then Brandon Aubrey walks out there from 64 and is like, extra point. Here we go. But overall, really impressed with Dak today. I thought he played really well. Javonte Williams looks like he's a Bronco again in his peak prime. Malik Neighbors, Wendell Robinson, they're combining for 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Russell Wilson's throwing the moon balls left and right. This game was on crack. Scatterboo, Kyle, had a touchdown. 11 for 45 and a touchdown. 2 catches, 14 yards.
He's out carrying. He's taking over this backfield for sure.
Woo! Kyle's Rookie of the Year, Cam Scatterboo.
I like it.
The Giants themselves look good. Like, there was 2 or 3 times where you're like, all right, Giants got this game. Like, wow, they won a shootout. And then it just continued to get more and more chaotic. Like, it just seemed like every time I looked up with, I don't know, pretty much the whole fourth quarter, it seemed like Russell Wilson was hitting someone for anywhere between 35 to 60 yards.
Yeah.
And then Dak would come back. Dak would come back and just lead him down the field, and then the field goal in between that. I was rooting for a tie in overtime. Like, that's what I was rooting for with 3 minutes left there.
And, okay, so speaking of confidence, obviously he got into fine field goal range. No one in their right mind thought Aubrey was going to even come close to missing, right? We all, like, it was just like it felt like a free throw from Steph, a late game, where you're like, okay, that's in. Like, we don't even have to watch the last play of the game. Like, unless there's something crazy that goes on, if he gets a clean kick, it's going in. One thing I want to point out before we move on to the next game, I walked into Sunday thinking to myself, okay, even if the Chiefs do lose this week, they have the Giants next week. They should be perfectly fine against them. Now if the offense can actually look comfortable like that, I know it's in it's in New York.
New York.
So
I said it 3 weeks ago. I said the Giants will beat the Kansas City Chiefs week 3. I didn't know that they'd be 0-2 at this point, but they're gonna do it.
To my point, and my point to you, Timmy, was I didn't agree with you at that time because I didn't think that the Chiefs would be 2-0 at this point. But this was going to be a trap game. I don't think they do because I think the Chiefs understand if they go 0-3, the playoffs are really, really difficult. There's not many, I'm not sure if any, but like not many teams that all make the playoffs when you're 0-3. I don't know the numbers on it.
0-3 and down 2 of your star receivers. I know Worthy could probably be back next week. Like, they could force him in. They could win this game without him, too, so they might just hold him out and keep him healthy.
I would probably hold him out and then try to get him back for the Ravens game the week after, which is why this week against the Giants, they have to treat it like a playoff game because if they go 0-3 going and playing the Ravens the week after that, that's going to be very difficult. It's going to be real interesting to see because Mahomes had to put on the Superman cape with 66 yards rushing and doing everything, and it still wasn't enough. But
and Chiefs, if it wasn't for that Kelsey drop that led to the pick, I mean, obviously they're right in that game, but I mean, that's right near the end zone. Who knows how it turns out if he just either drops it clean or just hauls it in like Travis Kelsey should.
And those are the things that happen. Those are the things that typically happen on the other side with the Chiefs. And there was actually one thing I wrote down that I forgot to say that I'm going to quickly say now while we're kind of talking about them again. It felt like the Eagles dictated pace in this game. When typically always when you're playing the Chiefs, especially in big spots, it seems like the other teams dictate, or the Chiefs kind of dictate. Like I felt them going for the 4th down early in the 3rd. That felt like a spot where they would typically punt, but I felt like they felt to themselves that they need to with how sound this Eagles team is, with how they usually don't turn the ball over. They're smart. Fundamental, they play good offensively and defensively. That like kind of the Eagles kind of dictated the pace of what the Chiefs were doing, and I thought that was interesting. At least that was a point that I took. I mean, my favorite team, the New England Patriots, 33-27 over the Dolphins. We had a punt return and then a kick return back to back. Oh man, Ramondre Stevenson had a good game. The running backs had a really good game for New England. It just we thought it would be Travion Henderson completely. Well, not completely, but a lot of it, but not. But Drake May looked good. Tua looked pretty good, and that defense in Miami looks not good. That's just not.
Yeah, it was an entertaining game, but I mean, truthfully, the Pats defense, I would say halfway through the second quarter on, they didn't look too hot either. They were giving up some deep plays. Key play to me though late was Tua missing Tyreek. I think it was on a 2nd and 15 or 1st and 15. He was wide open. There was no reason for him to miss him at all. Missed him. They probably win that game if he completes it.
Yeah.
I'm on the bandwagon with Keenan. Not really a bandwagon. Tyreek Hill's going to get traded. They're going to tear this team down to the nubs pretty soon once they fire McDaniels. So he'll get traded. 4th round pick back to the Chiefs. They'll make another push.
Honestly, Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs, they're going to probably clip it and stamp it. Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs probably will be a thing that happens because the Chiefs need it and the Dolphins need it. And the Chiefs might even give a 3rd because they're in the position where like we have Mahomes. That's all we need to worry about right now. And they draft well. So, man, Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs in a trade, but by mid-season, Timmy, I love it. I love it. Bengals, Jags. Bengals get a huge win, especially with the health of Joe Burrow in question. Looks like it's turf toe and ligament damage, so he could be out several weeks. The Jags got to pull that game out. I understand when a backup quarterback comes in. Sometimes it can kind of throw off your game plan, but you can't say that when you got 3 picks on him. Three picks?
It's not even about pulling the game out. It's about being stupid. Again, There's just coaching. You'll see it every week in the NFL where you're like, how do you have a job? How did you make that decision? 4th and 5. I think they're up 3. 4th and 5 on I think they're inside the 20. They're in the red zone, inside the 15 even.
Yeah.
Could have just kicked a field goal, pushed to 6, make Browning go however long, and they go for it on 4th and 5 with the lead, and then give up a whole drive to Jake Browning. So they asked for it. I mean, just take the points there and, make him beat you. It's one thing if it's a 6-point game. It's another thing if it's a 3-point game. Of course,
and it's one thing if it was Joe Burrow on the other side. Like you could sell me on that if it's Burrow. Like, okay, especially at that point because they were rolling. Okay, Chase is rolling today. The offense looks good in Cincinnati. We know that we need to get a touchdown because if not, Burrow can easily go down.
There was no
Jake Browning does not need that kind of.
Even then, I don't know if there was a need for it. Like, they were actually playing pretty good against Burrow. It's weird that their defense looked solid against Burrow, and then Browning, again, like you said, all chaos broke loose. Between the picks, between Browning leading them, the occasional explosion from the Bengals.
He had a Jameis Winston stat line. It was 21 of 32, 241, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. That is Jameis Winston if I've ever seen it.
It's a lot of production. I didn't actually watch any of this game either, but was pretty surprised to see them be able to come back. Browning he seems to be like the GOAT backup QB, back when Burrow was hurt for that.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, back when Burrow was hurt for that whole season, Browning won a ton of games for them. But yeah, I agree that the Jags, you got to come away with a win. That would be a huge win for you. Take control of your division already, and that against a backup with the Bengals defense, yeah, there's no reason that you can't win that game. You should win that game. You need to win that game. Yeah, unfortunate.
I can see why Brandon went to bed early on top of, Florida lost yesterday. Jacksonville should have won that game, honestly. Just kick the field goal there. I get it. They still got 7, but that would have put even more pressure on Jake Browning, needing a touchdown there as opposed to just needing 3 and then going ahead and getting 7.
100%. And huge win for the Bengals because their next 4 is at Minnesota, at Denver, against Detroit, against Green Bay. And that without Burrow.
They'll need to split.
And without Burrow, goodness gracious. They need to go 1-3 to at least be 3-3 if Burrow's out for 4 weeks going into that Thursday night game against Pittsburgh. Because I could see Burrow probably being out 4 weeks, being out a month. So if that's a tough stretch. They need one of those next 4 to at least be 3-3. 4-2 would be great, but 2-4 is tough to get out of in that stretch. But maybe they can do it. Maybe they can't. We don't know. Jake Browning might be just a second coming to something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see though. Big win for the Bengals. Going on here, the Lions beat up on the Bears. Oh boy, they were.
Good Lord.
That was.
They big boy.
The Lions, we were talking about Ben Johnson having this game circled. The Lions had this game circled. The Lions had this one. They had the pick celebration where it was the fake, obviously the fake fumble that they did last year, which I thought was really cool in that celebration. Amon-Ra was a man possessed. Gibbs, Montgomery, Goff looked great. Golly, the Lions were upset. Okay, Ben, you wanted to leave? See ya. Here's 52 on you.
They pulled Ben Johnson's pants down on live TV. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. Incredible win for the Lions. Incredible win. All I can think of is I can't wait to see the second Packers game now after that. But man, this is the kind of stuff, how the Bears lost their first game and how they lost this game. This is the kind of stuff that could submarine Ben Johnson's whole tenure there. That's all it takes is 2 losses like that.
In the division.
In the division at that. That's all it takes is a 1-3 start, 2-6 type of start where body language gets bad, morale gets bad in the locker room, and before you know it, the job's over, regardless of how good of a coach he could be. But today was, that was a statement win for the Lions and then some.
And the thing is, they have the Cowboys and the Raiders next couple weeks, so they have winnable games and they have a bye. If they have any thought, obviously, I don't think they're sniffing the playoffs at this point. Obviously, it's only been 2 weeks, but they probably still think they do in the locker room. They better get some wins because when is this week 13? It's Philly, at Green Bay, Cleveland, then Green Bay at home, then San Francisco, then Detroit. Man, those are 4 teams that easily could be in the NFC Championship game and no one would bat an eye at it. And then the Browns in there, who Obviously, the Ravens put it to him in the second half, but Myles Garrett's a problem. And that Bears offensive line's not the greatest. Myles Garrett might have himself a field day. Because Myles Garrett is trying to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's looked great in these first couple games. Man, what a week, though. Go on.
Dan Campbell off the loss, now 11-0. He does not care. All he wants to do is go out there and kill somebody after they lose a football game. So
Kneecaps.
he pretty much did. I think he killed their entire roster. 52 points is insane. All they did was just go for the jugular at every moment. So great game to see, because a lot of people were like, "Yeah, what did we tell you? They lose both offensive and defensive coordinators. They're not going to be the same team anymore." No, they're still a really good team. Still a lot of talent. Very similar playbook. Still going to work. I'm not worried about the Lions at all. They will be a very good team this year.
Extremely impressive win. Extremely impressive.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Two other wins that kind of impressed me a bit were, we spoke a little bit on it, the Ravens blowing out the Browns. I understand that the Browns are not a great team, but we all had this game close.
I didn't.
We all thought, you didn't? I thought you did have this game close.
I had 2 touchdowns for the Ravens.
Okay. Well, Timmy, Brandon, and myself had this game close. So the way the defense was being played from the Browns and then the Bills, Jets, we all had close. And that was a rout.
That game was over in the first half.
I wanted to shout out both of those teams, because those are two teams that, like, last week we were like, wait, defensively, possibly, is there maybe a couple questions there? But for the most part, we were completely fine with the Bills and the Ravens coming out of last week's game. But they both took care of business the way that two great teams should in week 2.
Do we know?
And I just wanted to shout both of them out.
Do we know what Josh Allen's injury is? Is that like a broken nose, or is that just like a bloody one that he got?
I don't know.
It must have been a broken nose, and if not, like, as close as you can get without breaking your nose, because his shit was leaking when that injury happened.
Yeah, no, and he instantly, his head was down, came up, that is just, that's a gamer. He literally came out, was just there. They were just giving him some water, and then he 4 plays later, yeah, okay. Mitch Trubisky was dealing while he was out for some reason.
Josh Allen is an Iron Man. You're not going to take him out. So,
and James Cook, one of the most underrated backs in the league, he looked really good. The Bills just impressed me more. I honestly think it's right now going to be, it's going to be hard for me to think that someone's beating them in January at the moment, or even February. Maybe February with where the Packers are looking at this point, but golly, it could look like a collision course of those two teams. Rams pulled off a nice win today, 33-19. Tough first half, but the second half they did what they were supposed to do. 49ers Saints was a weird one.
That was a really good game.
Mac.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was.
Mac played his ass off. I can't lie.
26-39 for 279 and 3 touchdowns for Mac Jones.
You want to talk about dealing? Mac was picking up long third downs a lot of the game. He looked comfortable on third down. He played a great ball game for sure.
He did. I like that McCaffrey only touched the ball 19 times. He had 100 yards, over 100 and a touchdown, but I don't think 31 carries or 31 touches for him every week is going to be the recipe for long-term success. So I like the fact that they were able to do it without having to utilize him 31 times.
Niners Cards going to be a good game next week, coming off this.
Maybe.
Well, once we talk about the Cardinals, but yeah, I agree. Very good to see them not need to use McCaffrey 32 times in a game where they don't have Kittle and Juwan being on the bubble of playing or not today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just good to see that they were able to do it. I know it's against the Saints, and I don't think anybody really picked them to lose this game, but still good to see that they're limiting him and they're not running him into the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's why you trade for Brian Robinson. I think that's why you go get a guy like that, so you don't have to utilize McCaffrey weeks. You want to get wins, of course. Stacking wins is always important, but you don't want McCaffrey. You want him in November, December, January, hopefully February. You don't need September. McCaffrey is cool, but it's not the most important thing in the world. And then other 1 o'clock window, Seahawks, Steelers. That was
a wild
31
game.
31 points from the Seahawks. Darnold only threw a couple picks, but he was moving in the pocket. He looked pretty decent. I know there were some throws, and then Rodgers wasn't looking great. Rodgers wasn't making the greatest of decisions. 18 to 33, 202, had 203, 2 picks. Didn't look great.
Honestly, there's a point in this game where Rodgers was probably outplaying Darnold. Like Darnold hit
early on.
I forget who it was that. Oh, it was JSN that Darnold hit deep. But I mean, the game turned on the kick return where the Steelers touched it, and then gave up a 3rd and 15 touchdown on a run. So I mean, those were the 2 plays really where, yeah, if you're asking Rodgers in that offense to bring you back, it's not great. Rodgers in the first half though did look good, but it was a very weird second half where it turned on that kickoff return where the guy let it go through his hands and didn't even try to recover it, just let it go. Seahawks got an easy touchdown. That was one of the more bizarre plays I've ever seen.
It really sucks that was Caleb Johnson because, like, I really wanted him to eventually take over this backfield and just, earn some trust between Rodgers, earn some trust between Tomlin. It's all gone. All of it. There's no chance he ever starts in this backfield this year. That is so sad.
He's getting the Christian Watson treatment.
You touched the ball. You need to go get it. Like, it is now a live ball. You should know that. That is NFL 101. I know that. I would have ran back there to get that ball and done something.
Yeah,
even
100%.
Even kicking it out the back of the end zone is a better solution than just letting them score a touchdown. I'll take the safety and kick it off instead of that. That's
Yes. But shout out to the Seahawks. They get a win. And other than that,
Colts.
we're going to now we're going to the 4:00 window. Colts Broncos. My Lord. Tough loss for the Broncos. My goodness gracious. Jonathan Taylor, though, a guy who I was always confused why fantasy-wise people were a little down on him. I just think that he's such a workhorse. Like, it's kind of like old Henry, where it's like he just give him the ball so much. I always thought fantasy-wise that he was a guy that I was aiming for because the backfield's fully his and they're going to give him the ball 20-plus times a game.
He's crazy. He broke multiple great runs today. That was just amazing to see. In clutch time, I will say the last run that he broke, the long one down the sideline that put him within the 10.
Yeah.
You could see him like 3 or 4 times, does like a take behind him to see where everybody is. Just get going, man. You probably would have made it if you just booked it from the get-go and not stopped to kind of check, see where everybody is. That kind of sucked. Daniel Jones was dealing. Like, I think
he was.
I think he's definitely playing all 17 games. I don't think that's going to be a question. This was a good defense. One thing, I know Pat Surtain had like an ankle injury. They were abusing him, man. They were targeting him over and over and over again, and it just kept on working. So that surprised the hell out of me. But yeah, this Colts team is for real, offensively and defensively. I really like it. Don't love how they won the game. Again, I know it's a penalty. You can't push on the center. They should know that. But still, that just bothers me that that's how they won the game. And then 2, I saw this like 15 times today. Stop hitting the quarterback after he's thrown the football. That is like the definition of an unsportsmanlike, unnecessary roughness penalty. And it happens 4 times a game because defensive linemen are idiots. That happened in that game right there, and it almost bailed the Broncos out a few times because I know Bo Nix is in bounds, but if the ball's been out of his hands for a second, don't shove him out of bounds. That doesn't do anything. What are you doing this for? It makes no sense to me that they do that. But it bothered me. That happened there in that game. It happened in the Giants game as well a bunch. Just smarten up. If he doesn't have the ball, so what? You're not going to do anything by hitting him right here.
You see that a decent amount in quarterbacks getting penalties off of that. I mean, obviously Mahomes. I mean, this one was a little bit different. Mahomes got a roughing the passer on kind of that too. But like, I don't understand. They don't have it, or when people are close to the sideline, I just don't understand. Like, even like the one arm push, like they're already going out of bounds. Just put your body there, and like that one I kind of get more because they possibly have the chance to like cut back in, and you want to make sure of that. But like, a lot of the time they're actively going out of bounds. Just let them go out of bounds and live to fight another day.
Yeah. I mean,
go on.
Just another freak loss here. Broncos miss a field goal. And then, like we said, the 60-yard attempt from the Colts. They get the petty penalty, which we see it a couple times a year. And they
That
obviously
was
make
the
the
Petty
field goal.
penalty because Brandon Petty was quite upset. That was the Petty Petty penalty.
That was rough. That was
Yeah.
rough. If you're a Broncos fan, that one's tough to swallow because
Yeah.
they were in control. Like the Colts definitely played them tough, but they should have probably won that game. Then you miss a field goal barely off the post, and then lose it that way to get the double whammy special team style. That's a tough loss. That's a tough loss. But hey, Daniel Jones, 30 points and 29 points. One against the worst defense in the league, one against one of the best defenses in the league. You can't take anything from them. So,
No,
yeah, the Colts are going to be
shout
tough.
out Shout out Daniel Jones and maybe the veteran quarterback sitting a year after they have their starting stint. Maybe that's behind a good offensive coordinator. Maybe that's just the way to get a good quarterback now. Maybe that's just what you need to do. Get a guy. So like, hey, no, don't throw out your Bryce Young stock yet. Because let Bryce Young go somewhere, and then maybe in 2 years, like after he sits behind some great offensive coordinator or great offensive coach, he'll come in and do well. Because I guess if Mac Jones continues on that, just another way down the road. Like, it's just weird. So maybe that is just it.
Like I was telling y'all before, like I think 95% of the league really might be system players, especially when it comes to QB.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to QB. But I mean, not for nothing. You mentioned Bryce Young. Bryce Young played pretty well today in the second half too against the Cards. That was another weird game where the Cardinals had all the control in the world, and the Carolina Panthers just kind of hung around. Bryce Young looked comfortable. Their defense, their run defense, I thought James Conner was going to have a big game. The run defense stepped it up big today. So Panthers looked pretty competitive, especially coming off of last week's game.
And they had all reason not to be. Like they got down early and they had all reason just to say, we don't need it. We're not even at home. Like, we don't need to be like, and they were able to fight back and made it a game for Arizona. And those are the things about Arizona where you're like, they just lose. They have the talent, but they just lose. Seems like they lose focus so easy. Like, it's just like, they kind of just go through the motions and do what they want to do. It's crazy.
Okay,
I wouldn't even say that, honestly. Go ahead, Tim.
I texted in the group chat that I don't feel comfortable about Arizona being like a good team ever because they were up 27-9 in the red zone, and Kyler throws a pretty bad pick. He should not have thrown the ball. He should have just gone down, taken it. We can at least get points out of this. And then from that point on, they played the game offensively like they had already won the game. They were just trying to run the clock out, run 3 plays and punt as if the game was over. There were 2 full quarters to play, and they were playing like that. And at no point did they have urgency to get any points in the second half beyond that point. And all the Panthers did was claw their way back. And they had plenty of time to do it, and they could have done it at the end. They scored a touchdown. With clock expiring, they don't even get a chance to go back and win the games.
Mm-hmm.
I was super disappointed with how Arizona finished the game. I thought they lucked into a victory. Like any other game, they lose that. Against any other team, they lose that.
I don't know. I didn't quite see it that way. I see what y'all are saying. Arizona definitely got a little conservative, but they really had control, and Panthers kind of took advantage. Like, and there were some weird penalties that was just like prolonging the game on both sides of the ball. I thought it was a pretty weird second half, honestly. I don't want to put it all on Arizona like that. Don't get me wrong, they didn't close great, but I think I've seen worse closings, like even today. So I wasn't too mad at that, honestly. But they looked great in the first half, I thought. I think this offense is going to be formidable as the weeks go on. But like you said, that Kyler pick in the red zone, that was awful. Rolling out, trying to throw it back. But,
yeah. We'll see. I mean, they have a very good chance now to compete for the division. We'll see. I mean, there are 3 2-0 teams right now in the NFC West. So, and then one team that's 1-1. So we'll see what that division's going to look like. I mean, we've got Sunday night football tonight, Falcons, Vikings, and tomorrow we got the double slate. And then Thursday day going next before we go again. We'll kind of fun Bills, Miami Dolphins. Can't wait for that one. But is there any other points, anything else on your guys' mind after this wild football Sunday?
Didn't really get to talk about the Giants-Cowboys game. Malik,
yeah, go for it.
Malik, you're just built different. That first touchdown catch, incredible. How do you even see the ball? I don't know. The second one, I don't know how he saw the ball because somebody's hand was like this the entire time, and he just catches it. Without him, they're not even close to being in that game.
No. So Timmy, I actually have a question off of that before we leave and depart for the day. Do you think Malik Neighbors will be a top 5 wide receiver by the end of the year?
Already is, baby.
You think he is now?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Looked like it today.
Do you think he'll be top 3?
Top 3? No, because I got to give CD his respect, and then Jettas and Jamar are just 1 and 2. But I got to give CD his flowers. He's incredible. But I could see him being top 3 in the next couple of years, 100%.
He'll be top 3. He'll be an LSU.
They'll be like, which one's wide receiver you again? I don't remember.
And then Brian Thomas will be 4, and they'll be like, yeah, what are we doing here? And then Ohio State's going to be like, you guys might have the top 4, but we've got like 7 through like 24 locked up. We've got so many people through that 7 to 24. Yeah. All right. Kyle, is there anything else on your mind football-wise that you wanted to discuss before we watch the Sunday night football game?
Just can't wait to see how some of these divisions unfold, particularly the NFC East, particularly the NFC North, AFC North. There's just a lot of storylines coming out of today, especially if you're a Colts fan. AFC South, I didn't even mention that. Now the Texans game's even bigger tomorrow versus the Buccaneers.
Yep.
But I think, you just mentioned the Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders, assuming the Eagles just take care of business in the NFC East, that's going to be a competitive trying to get the second spot there. And it might just be a competitive division all the way through. I know the Eagles are 2-0, but Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders are all formidable offenses and explosive offenses. So, yeah.
Yes. I'm super excited to Chiefs, Giants next week. Super excited for. I really want to see, because the Giants, I think, understand too, we have a chance to be the team that knocked the Chiefs out kind of thing. Obviously they're not out of it, and they have the chance to, obviously they will go 10-7. They could still do that. They've won multiple games like that in a row before, but the team to put the Chiefs at 0-3 could be that. So I think that they're going to get the Chiefs are going to get the Giants' best effort, and I'm really excited to see it. But Warner Brothas Podcast, we're going to go watch Atlanta versus the Vikings. You guys will know the outcome of this. Prediction for you guys. I had the Falcons in this. Timmy and Kyle, you both had the Vikings, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it should be a good game. Need the Falcons to cover 10, and if they cover 10, we're getting some money. Betting wise, we're going to be looking nice. So just need them to cover 10. They should be okay.
Plus 10. I thought you meant minus 10.
Oh, no. That's insane. I would never. No. Just plus 10. Just need them to not lose by.
We're good.
They could lose 27-18 for all I care. Perfect. Just don't lose.
That's easy.
But TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all Warner Brothas Podcast. We'll be seeing you guys again midweek. We appreciate all of you guys, and we'll be seeing you guys very, very soon.